is MBA marketing something that you want to do?
I started leaning towards marketing because that's something that appealed to me.
So what do you mean by a brand? What is a brand?
That instantly spikes something, that strikes something in your brain.
So there are quite a few business families from Gujarat. So what is so special about Gujarat?
So maybe it's the upbringing and the culture around in Gujarat.
So do you remember any case study that you did at IIM?
We did a case study on the 2017 Oscars blunder. So the wrong envelope was given to the person who was announcing the awards.
At what point would you say that, okay, this is enough, I am ready to really have my own startup?
So I think once I feel I have had enough experience and understanding of the market.
Hello Hanishi, can you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, sir. Hi, I'm Hanishi Parikh. I was born and brought up in Mumbai. I did my schooling from Villa High School and also secured a third rank in my ICSE board examinations in school. After which I joined HR College of Commerce and Economics for my 12th and my bachelor's degree in management studies. I graduated in April 2024 and during my college and school I was also very active in my extracurriculars and academics. After graduation, I took up an internship for 2 months in B.Ed Consulting in social media marketing. And I also attended the summer program in management at IIM Udaipur. Currently, I am an active volunteer at CRY, which is an NGO that is Child Rights and You. And during my free time, I like to write poetry, watch Indian cricket team matches, and play the guitar.
So you mentioned you did some work in social media marketing.
Yes, sir.
So can you throw some light
Yes,
over
sir.
it?
So my role was basically I was handling the Instagram accounts of Radisson View Goa and Radisson Goa Candleum. Both the properties are in Goa, and so that included creating content calendars for every month. And once the content calendars are approved by the client, we go ahead with deciding the pictures and the videos that go up, and it also included editing of reels. After which we had a captions review meeting every next week with my manager, and once the captions were confirmed, they will be posted every day at 5 p.m.
So approximately how many people were you able to reach through this effort?
Yes, so totally we on both accounts combined we posted more than 22 to 25 reels, and we had a collective views of over 250,000 plus.
So what is this in HR college? So what does HR stand for?
So Hasaram and Rijuma.
So who was it?
So they are the founders of the college.
Founders of
yes.
the college.
So what do you want to do? So I can see that academically you have been very good and you worked in social media. So is MBA in marketing something that you want to do?
Yes, so I have done my BMS in finance, but after attending summer program in management at IIM Udaipur, I started leaning towards marketing because that's something that appealed to me, and that's why I took up an internship in social media marketing to explore my interests. And so that's why I'm also thinking of taking up an MBA in marketing.
Okay. What did you learn at the summer program at IIM Udaipur?
So
can you explain what the program is, how many days, and what
yes,
did you do?
So it was a residential program of 2 weeks, which included, so we had 4 lectures every day, and that included all the disciplines of fundamental areas of management. Some of them included communication, strategic thinking, marketing, finance, innovation and finance, and so on.
But that you were already aware of, right? Considering you have done BMS.
Yes, sir. But so that gives us, it also gives us insights into how the B school works. So we also had case studies, which because in college we were mainly focused on theoretical knowledge, whereas when it came in the SPM, we also saw several case studies, and we had group projects as well, group studies.
Okay. So do you remember any case study that you did at IIM?
Yes, sir. So one of my favorite subjects was communications, and that's when we did a case study on the 2017 Oscars blunder. If you remember, it was when so the wrong envelope was given to the person who was announcing the awards, and that happened because of the communication problem, and also because the envelope or the design of the envelope on which the names were written was not designed well. So in our lectures, we also designed the envelope again as per what it should be.
So what was the redesign?
Yes, so initially the name of the winner was mentioned and below that the title was mentioned, and that was a major problem because when the people who were announcing the award, they just opened half the envelope and then didn't read the title below. So the major change we made was putting the title on the top along with the name and the Oscars logo in at the bottom corner.
Okay. Would there any other way be there to design it better?
So another way we could do is that so maybe I think this is the major change that is required. And so maybe we could make changes in the font size as well, because in the original envelope, the font size was very tiny. So it was not something that people noticed in the first glance.
So let me ask you about your favorite brand. So think of any product service that you really like and think of an advertising campaign that they have done recently. You walk me through that and then tell me how would you as let's say a marketing professional there or a brand manager there do something differently.
So I can talk about Nykaa. Nykaa basically they had a very plain, so Black Friday went past recently only, and they had a campaign on it, which was it was a normal standard advertisement campaign, which had ads on social media, TV, radio, everywhere, newspaper as well. But so something that attracts a lot of customers would be getting something on board, or getting so maybe you could add a mascot to it, or we could also have loyalty programs where we can give points to the first 100 or 500 customers according to the purchases. And so we could also give discounts in the very first hour of Black Friday. That was from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. That would also boost our sales immediately.
Okay. Are there any products or services that you think should not be advertised?
For Nykaa particularly?
No, for any other product or service in general.
So maybe I think nowadays a lot of alcohol brands they represent they advertise themselves as packaged drinking water. I think that is a major that is something that should not be done, because they are misleading people and they are portraying themselves as packaged drinking water when they are not actually water, and they are actually selling alcohol, which is not very good for health.
Okay, so let's say after MBA you get hired by a company and they are also into liquor business and they have similar products, right? So would you be comfortable working with such organizations?
Preferably I don't drink alcohol myself. So that company would not be my priority. So because for me, something that I do not do, it doesn't make sense for me to promote that.
Okay. I saw in your application that you want to be an entrepreneur at some point of time.
Yes, sir.
And there is an idea also that you have written there.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think in that idea you can explain that idea to us?
Yes, sir.
But again, the point that I wanted to make was, is it completely new? That's the first thing. And if you wait for a long period, don't you think somebody will already enter that segment and create the difference?
Yes, sir. So my idea was basically creating eco-friendly and economical menstrual products. So because me myself, I use them every day, and a woman or a person who menstruates uses around 9,500 menstrual products throughout their lifetime, and which is something that creates a huge impact on the environment. And so the menstrual pads, they take around 100 plus years to decompose. I agree this is not a completely new idea, but so there are products which are eco-friendly, but they're extremely expensive. So someone who is from a middle class or the lower middle class background, even though they want to contribute towards the society, towards the environment, they may not be able to do so because of the cost. So those menstrual products cost around 20 rupees per pad, and the ones which are on the cheaper side, they cost only 5 rupees, but they're not eco-friendly, and they use a lot of plastic, which again takes a lot of time to decompose. So the main idea is to make it more economical, so it can be used on a wider scale by everyone.
Okay, but even the ones who are selling at, let's say, 20 rupees, etc., they have government grants and everything to fund their research as well and create products that are affordable.
Yes, but again, so they are not. I have not seen any brand advertising that they sell economic and eco-friendly products. So it's basically only social media, and so the lower middle class people, they don't care much about such products on social media. They care about what they care about is the value and what they are getting for the price they are paying.
Okay. What's your least favorite brand?
So I think it was not my least favorite brand per se, but some ads of chocolates, they are actually very funny and they don't convey the product in a good way. For example, there was a Gems ad which just portrayed that there's a figurine or a model made in the museum made out of gems, and one person's picking out the gems and the whole model breaks apart, which is not very practical, and it's not something that, looking at that, I would want to buy gems.
But then that's quirky content, right?
Yes,
and even
sir.
as somebody who worked on Instagram, you made 22 plus reels.
Yes,
There
sir.
also you would have done something which is catchy.
Yes, so we did definitely, but so it also has to be slightly within the practical boundaries as well. That's what I feel.
Okay, so we are talking about brand a lot.
Yes, sir.
So what do you mean by a brand? What is a brand?
So brand is what is a word that instantly spikes something, that strikes something in your brain. When I say, for example, if I say H&M or Zara, you instantly think of fast fashion, and that is how your products and services should be associated with your brand.
So can you give me any example of ultimate branding wherein the product or service just takes a back seat and the brand itself takes a front seat?
Yes, so one of my examples could be Red Bull, because so Red Bull is an energy drink, but nowadays they've also gotten into F1, and they have a whole team of Red Bull. So they're not advertising the drink at all. It's just basically Red Bull as a team, and what they are doing in F1.
So have you studied economics as a part of BMS?
Yes, sir.
So how would you relate the word economics with the world of marketing?
So economics is something you need to understand before you step into the market. You need to know how the market behaves, and economics is basically the understanding of market based on the market forces of demand and supply. So if you don't know how your demand and supply is, you cannot initially step into the market and launch a product.
So this is you're talking about the macro economics.
Yes, sir.
So how about microeconomics?
So microeconomics is individual, is as per every individual. So it involves your individual aggregate expenses and income and how you handle them.
So what's your favorite book?
So the recent book I read was Silent Patient.
What is it all about?
So it's about it's a mystery book. It's about a woman who accidentally murdered her husband, and after which she went into trauma, and she did not even after sessions and sessions of therapy, she did not speak a word, or she did not open up on how that incident happened.
So any book on business or marketing that you read?
So I read a book called Dhanda in a year back. It was about all the famous Gujarati businessmen, which included, so there was a diamond merchant in that. There was one more. So I cannot recollect the names at this point, but it was a story of 4 diamond merchants and how they started their business from scratch.
So there are quite a few business families from Gujarat.
Yes, sir.
So what is so special about Gujarat?
So maybe it's the upbringing and the culture around in Gujarat. That's a majority of, like you said, so there are a lot of business families in Gujarat. So looking around, also the kids also, they grow up in a mentality that eventually when I grow up, I want to start my own business. So that is what motivates them, is what I feel.
So what's happening in share market these days?
So I'm not very sure, but as long as I know, the market is not performing very well right now, and it's slightly on the lower side.
Okay, let me ask you about your extracurriculars. So I can see that you have done quite a few things. So you did editorials, photography, IT department, some general events. So out of these, which one was which one you really liked doing or you were more passionate about?
So in my department, we were 5 people. So there were 2 for editorials, 1 for photography, and 2 for IT. So I was in the editorial sector, and so that's when my passion or my hobby for writing actually began. And so that included writing captions again for the Instagram posts of our clubs. We also wrote press releases and reports for every meeting that we had.
Okay. Have you used ChatGPT?
Yes, sir, sometimes I do.
So do you think people who write captions or people who write content, are they going to be at any sort of risk because of ChatGPT? Because if, let's say, I want to have caption for Radisson Blue I can describe Radisson Blue to a large language model like ChatGPT and ask it to give me 10 captions.
Yes, sir. So again, so this happened in my internship as well. On the very first day, so I was given a picture and I was supposed to write captions for that. As I was I didn't know how to go about it. So I wrote a line on my own and I asked ChatGPT to rephrase it. So after which my manager saw it and she figured out in the very next minute that it is AI language. And so this is exactly what's going to happen in the future also. What a person writes and what AI writes is very different. The AI language is very wordy and uses unnecessary adjectives. So whereas it comes to human language, so we tend to, we can always add some quirk to it, which we know. I tried asking ChatGPT for quirky captions as well. But so those captions which they gave didn't make that sense and was not very relatable to what we were posting. So you always need a human touch in such things.
Okay, but the field will evolve, right, because of the current advancement?
Yes, so it will evolve, but so there's always a need for human touch.
Where do you see yourself, let's say, 10-15 years down the line? The entrepreneurship is, of course, one thing that you mentioned.
Yes, sir.
So when is the vision to actually do that?
So I think I'm just a fresher, so I think after my PGP I should get some experience on how the industry works and what all is required before my startup comes into existence. And so that's why I feel that I need to get experience, hands-on experience, practical experience, as well as the theoretical knowledge as well.
Okay. So, see, you did internship in June, around June 24, you ended that, right?
Yes, sir.
Which was after your graduation. You could have taken up a full-time job in, let's say, any of the advertising firms or any of the FMCG companies at a junior level, and you could have got the practical experience that you are speaking about.
Yes, sir. So, but so I thought that sir, from the SPM also, the Summer Program Management, I just had a basic idea of all the fundamentals of management. I did not have an in-depth knowledge of what it is. So even if I took up a job, I wouldn't get to know all the concepts and theoretical knowledge completely in depth to apply it anywhere I go. So that's why I think I need a PGP to give me a proper understanding of all the concepts, case studies and knowledge.
What do you consider as an area of improvement for yourself?
So I think that two of my areas of improvement would be time management and self-criticism. So because I tend to take on work that more work than I can actually handle at once. And so again, that's why I have a priority mismanagement problem over there. Because I have more duties to do at once and I cannot figure out what is to be done on first. And so when it comes to time management also, so I tend to give more time to things which don't require that much time.
Okay. What is self-criticism?
So self-criticism is that I feel that I have not done enough justice to what I have done. And I could have actually worked on it better.
If people like you start talking about this, that I have not done enough, then what should others do?
So there's always area for improvement. There's always someone who has scored more than me. So why not aim for more?
Okay. Are you by nature a very competitive person?
So I do tend to take part in competitions, but so that's just for the fun. If they're extracurriculars, it makes me happy. And when it comes to academic, so I don't compete a lot in academic competitions.
Okay. Now, let's say you complete your MBA and you get into brand management roles and everything, right? At what point would you say that, okay, this is enough, I am ready to really have my own startup?
So I think once I feel I have had enough experience and understanding of the market, and I know how the market is going to be once I launch my product, I think after that, maybe I could go ahead with it.
Would you not do anything about that cause till that point of time?
So I could definitely do, but so then again, this idea is something that requires a lot of investment and a lot of effort as well. So it also requires time. So maybe also during my PGP, I may not be able to give enough time to the idea.
Okay, now suppose you get into a B2B marketing job.
Yes, sir.
And the idea that you're talking about is B2C.
Yes, sir.
Right? So once you are in that B2B marketing for some years or some time, it would become difficult to shift from B2B to B2C.
Yes, sir.
Right? So in that case, you will not get the kind of understanding of the market that you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Then what will you do?
So this idea which I'm talking about, I can obviously, so it can be done B2B as well, because if, so this is something that I can go to schools, offices, colleges, so where there are menstrual product vending machines kept in the women's washroom as well. So we can always use it in the B2B way as well, and we can get an understanding, and then we can switch to B2C.
Regarding your hobbies, you mentioned writing poetry.
Yes, sir.
So, have you published anything anywhere?
No, so I'm not published, but it's just informal. But I'm looking forward to making it in a more formal and structured manner.
Okay. What else do you do?
So I also play the guitar, and I like watching Indian cricket matches as well.
Okay. So, regarding cricket, let's talk about viewership. So, for men's versus the women's cricket. So, what do you think? What are some of the ideas that you can suggest where the viewership will go up for the women's cricket?
Yes, sir. So, some men's cricket is mainly it's as much as popular in India. It's because of certain people or certain players who have made India so proud in their fields. So, whereas it comes to women's cricket, it's still an emerging field in India. That's what I feel. Because until last year, women's cricket team didn't come under BCCI. That has happened just recently. And again, sir, to make them, to increase the viewership of women's cricket, we can always, like we have an IPL for men's, we also do have an IPL for women's. So we can also have one match which includes men and women together. We can have a team of 5 men and 5 women, like that, and we can have a 1 or 2 match series for the same, like a mini IPL.
Okay, so it's more of an exhibition match that you're saying. You're not suggesting a new format of cricket.
No, sir. So, of a new format of cricket, so there are 3 formats: ODI, T20, and Test.
No, I'm saying you are
Yes,
basically
sir.
suggesting sort of an exhibitional match,
Yes,
which
sir.
will gather interest from people.
Yeah, so that's when people will be more aware of the women cricket players as well.
All right. Okay, I think we'll conclude the interview here. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Okay, Hanishi, your interview is done. You can relax. And now we'll begin with the feedback.
Yes, sir.
So, how do you think it went?
So it was decent, I think, and maybe I could have given more structured answers.
So, I agree. It was actually a good interview. Okay, you were in control most of the times, and some of the situations that you handled, some of the questions that you handled, were rather good. But there are certain improvements that I can definitely suggest. See, first of all, in your introduction, you talked about you're born and brought up in Mumbai, and also you mentioned the name of your school. Now, think from the point of view of professors from IMK.
Yes, sir.
So, do you think they will know this school? Probably not. So, what value does it have? HR college, it's a well-known college. So, you might definitely want to mention that, HR college. But don't spend too much time on some things that don't really add value.
Okay, sir.
Yeah? Instead of that, you work in social media marketing, and you just mentioned one sentence and you left it there.
Yes, sir.
So, don't you think if you had mentioned a little bit more about it right in the introduction, that could have acted as a hook for the follow-up questions to come?
Yes, sir.
Right? So, that is definitely one point that I can suggest. As a part of the social media marketing, so what is it that you did there? What was your role? What was the outcome? So maybe a couple of sentences more on that. That would add value. About the book. So instead of saying this murder mystery, I mean, nothing is wrong in that, but I think considering your background and the interest that you have in marketing, that was the reason I asked a question on behavioral economics and how you relate economics with marketing. So the basic idea is that in traditional models of economics, you have that indifference curve and then budget line, and the point of contact between the two is the basket of goods that a consumer should consume. But in reality, those models don't work. Nobody goes out after solving an equation that I solve this equation and I want to buy, say, 10 units of goods. Doesn't work. So behavioral economics is a branch of economics that combines psychology
Okay.
with economics.
Yes.
And what is marketing? Marketing is understanding the mind of the consumer. So it has got everything to do with psychology.
Okay.
So I'm sure you're a well-read person, right? So reading books is not too much of an issue with you, right? And assuming that you have enough time for your interview, yeah. So see if you can read this book, Thinking Fast and Slow,
Okay.
by Daniel Kahneman.
Yes.
And there is one in the book, Predictably Irrational, by Dan Ariely.
Okay.
Yeah? So amazing books. So from that you can get some more insights about the whole thing. And then the idea is that whichever question it is or whichever topic it is in the interview, you have to get into a meaningful conversation. And this is not to say that you did not get into a meaningful conversation in today's interview.
Yes, sir.
But instead of talking about murder mystery, probably this would add more value.
So I just didn't have a lot of in-depth knowledge of behavioral economics because so we just had eco in the first year of BMS, and I had taken finance. So in the second and third year we didn't have eco as a subject. That's why I didn't have a lot of knowledge about economics. That's why I didn't.
That's fine. But see, I'm just giving you two examples of the word. Doesn't mean that you have to read only these two books. But whichever book that you read, instead of talking about murder mystery, considering your background and the kind of other answers that you get. So the expectation from you would be slightly higher.
Yes, I understood.
Your weakness in time management is a weakness. Don't mention that in the interview.
Okay, sir.
Because on the B school campus, every single day, so many activities will go on. And so that will keep you busy for 15 to 16 hours a day.
Yes, sir.
And you have to be able to manage n number of activities at the same time. This is not to say that everyone is perfect before going there. It's the way it works is once you get into water, you learn how to swim.
Yes.
So it works with most of the students. But on your own, you did not say this. Time management is. And also self-criticism. So can you package it better? In the sense that at times I am unnecessarily harsh on myself.
Yes, sir.
So I'm not saying that you should give a weakness that you don't have or something, but just package it better.
Yes, sir.
And the way you handled that B2B and B2C question was rather well.
Thank you, sir.
So it was, and I'm sure you're not expecting that question. It came suddenly out of the blue.
Yes.
But still you turned it around. And that is a good thing. And about this question on brand, that was handled well. So it is actually the image
Yes, sir.
that consumers have in their mind. An ultimate example of brand I can say is Cadbury and Xerox.
Yes, sir.
Xerox. So Xerox is not a product or service, it's a photocopy.
Yes.
But still, people say Xerox.
Yes, sir.
And otherwise, it was a good interview, no doubt about it.
Okay, coming to my feedback, again, as Girish mentioned, overall good interview. You have done enough on your CV, and of course your academic record is very good, so that will always help you. I would expect you to know more about brands, right? Because as you have mentioned that you want to work in brand management, you need to study brands more.
Okay.
That can happen in various forms. It can be by reading some books. It can be visiting some blogs and so on that are related to marketing and brand management in general.
Okay, sir.
So there's a blog called Marketing Practice. You can just check it out. The other thing that I would say is your introduction could have been more impactful. As he was also saying, right, that unnecessary there are some details. You can remove them and replace that with some achievements that you have. Because I can see your academic record is great, plus you have received some awards that never came in your introduction.
Yes.
Right? So getting that award Star of the Year is what I can see. I don't remember, at least in the introduction, you mentioning it. So those achievements, your extracurriculars can go in your introduction, which is something missing right now.
Okay.
Otherwise, most questions you were able to have some sort of an answer at least. It may not be the perfect answer right now. It may not be 100%. It was 70, 75, 80%, and that's okay. At least you are making an attempt to answer the question.
Yes, sir.
Another thing that didn't come up was the NGO part. You just mentioned it briefly.
Yes, sir.
But then you didn't get enough opportunity to speak about that later, or you got an opportunity but you didn't use that opportunity. So you have to think as to whether you could have spoken about it in the beginning itself.
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of people don't have NGO experience. When you have it, it creates a differentiator, right? So it's a differentiator, so you have to use it nicely. The designing envelope thing, right? Communication, again, I think could have been handled better, as you were also saying, right? That I need structure in my answers.
Yes, sir.
That answer you could have structured better.
Yes.
That in 2017, this is what happened in Oscar.
Yes.
The issue was XYZ in terms of design. And while we were discussing that case on campus, XYZ recommendations came up. And we finally, as a group, decided that, okay, this is the best thing that they could have done to avoid some sort of these sort of issues in the future.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, everywhere, I think you are fine. Nothing too concerning at this point of time, I would say. You have a view on a lot of things, as I asked you about ChatGPT, whether the role of a content creator be relevant, etc. Everywhere you have a view, and that's a good thing to have. But again, figure out, get some more clarity, especially on the startup, how that path is going to be there. Because, as I said, there are existing products in the market.
Yes, sir.
So, how will you create a differentiation, let's say 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, when market will get cluttered with those products also?
Yes, sir.
So right now you have somebody selling at 5 rupees, 7 rupees, 10 rupees. But there will be people who will then make the bamboo one or the other ones at a cheaper this thing, because the economies of scale will start hitting in for them as well. So think about it as to how you want to structure that answer.
Yes.
Otherwise, overall, you're a good candidate, good academic record, good communication and presence. So you just have to brush up on a lot of things in terms of marketing and brand management content. And as you said, read some books on behavioral economics and things like that, and you should be fine. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I hope this has helped. Wish you all the best.
Thank
All
you,
the
sir.
best.
Thank you, sir.